Mr. Musk is a wealthy internet entrepreneur who has vowed to revolutionize space exploration.
There is a clear path to a fully sustainable Earth with abundance. In fact, you could support a civilization much bigger than Earth.
The company began developing beanless coffee as a way to offset the environmental impact of growing coffee beans.
Elon Musk finds himself turned away at a cafe, not for who he is, but for what he's wearing. Yet the twist comes the very next day when he returns and does something no one saw coming. What happens next will make you rethink what progress really means. In the heart of downtown San Francisco, a cafe known as the Progressive Bean buzzes with life. Nestled among sleek startups and charming historic buildings, this spot has gained fame for its cutting-edge coffee and tech-friendly vibe. It's a hub of innovation and ideals, a reflection of the city's spirit. But one Wednesday afternoon, the usual hum of chatter and the tapping of keyboards gave way to an unexpected scene. At the counter, an exchange began that would not only alter the cafe's story, but ignite a much larger debate about prejudice and progress in Silicon Valley. "I'm sorry, sir, but we reserve the right to refuse service," the barista stated firmly. Her name tag read Tara, and she'd been a proud member of the cafe's team for years. Known for upholding a strong stance on social justice, she had no hesitation as she stood her ground. The man in question looked unassuming, dressed in a plain black t-shirt, jeans, and a jacket. But one detail stood out: a hat emblazoned with the unmistakable MAGA logo. It was this small yet polarizing accessory that had sparked the confrontation. Around the cafe, heads turned. Some customers quietly sipped their lattes, while others reached for their phones, ready to document the moment. The air felt charged, the tension building with each passing second. The morning sun poured through the cafe's expansive windows, casting a warm glow on an increasingly tense scene. The man at the counter stood calm, almost too calm, his soft South African accent catching the ears of a few nearby patrons. Some tech workers seated by the window exchanged curious glances but stayed quiet, their coffee cups poised mid-air. "I'm confused," he said, his fingers lightly tapping the countertop as though lost in thought. "I've been waiting here for 40 minutes. What exactly about my hat is causing an issue?" His voice was calm, almost inquisitive, like someone unraveling a puzzle rather than starting an argument. It felt more like an experiment than a protest. From the back room emerged Lisa, the cafe's owner, her expression firm but composed. For 5 years, she had nurtured the Progressive Bean into what she believed was a shining example of community values and forward-thinking ideals. To her, this was no ordinary cafe. It was a statement. "Sir," she began with measured politeness, "we avoid endorsing specific interests here. It's our policy to maintain a welcoming environment for everyone. We'd be happy to serve you if you removed the hat." The man turned his gaze around the cafe, his eyes taking in every corner. He lingered on the colorful "Everyone Welcome" sign displayed prominently on the wall, then on the polished AI-powered coffee machines featured in local tech blogs. His attention briefly flicked to the neatly framed sustainability certifications near the register and the vibrant infographic explaining the cafe's solar-powered operations. It was as though he was studying the very fabric of the place. A faint smile played across his lips, not one of frustration, but of intrigue, like someone encountering a riddle worth solving. "Very well," he said simply, turning toward the door. As the morning light struck the metallic threads of the logo on his hat, it shimmered briefly, a fleeting moment that left an impression on everyone watching. Before stepping out, he paused, glancing back at the name above the entrance, the Progressive Bean. The smile lingered, but his eyes carried something deeper, a flicker of inspiration that those familiar with him would recognize instantly. It wasn't anger or offense, it was the spark of an idea. Unbeknownst to most in the cafe, the man in the plain black cap was none other than Elon Musk. That day, he'd opted for a low profile, but the hat, a bold red one emblazoned with "Make America Great Again," had drawn more attention than even his name might have. It was a moment of unintended controversy that would spark ripples far beyond the cafe walls. Inside, the air remained heavy with tension after Musk's quiet exit. Tara, the barista, found herself in animated discussions with regulars, defending the cafe's stance. At one table, an elderly professor from Stanford quietly packed his things, shaking his head as he left. Across the room, a group of young software developers debated the intersection of innovation and social responsibility, their voices rising above the cafe's usual hum. In the back office, Lisa sat alone, staring at the cafe's mission statement plastered across a poster on the wall. Words like progressive and inclusive seemed to taunt her in the quiet of the room. She thought of her daughter Jamie, whose passion for global issues often left her questioning the world they were building. Had today's decision truly aligned with their values? Was turning someone away over a hat the example she wanted to set? But this wasn't just a fleeting moment. What had unfolded that morning would go on to spark one of the most unexpected conversations in San Francisco's recent memory. It wasn't the hat, nor the man wearing it, that made the incident so significant. It was the questions it raised about progress, innovation, and the very essence of inclusion in the heart of America's tech capital. For Musk, that morning had started unlike most. Troubled by thoughts of interplanetary challenges, he'd risen before dawn and decided to explore the city on foot, leaving his phone behind. San Francisco's steep hills reminded him of his childhood in Pretoria, while its foggy streets seemed to whisper of endless potential. Walking in silence, untethered from his usual digital world, he sought something rare in his busy life: clarity. Little did he know this quiet morning would spark a debate far beyond the cafe and challenge the city's understanding of its own ideals. As Elon Musk strolled through San Francisco's financial district that morning, the city's striking contrasts unfolded before him. The grandeur of glass and steel skyscrapers stood in sharp relief against the makeshift shelters of the unhoused. Street artists painted vivid scenes beside gleaming automated kiosks, while traditional fruit vendors shared space with the quiet hum of robots delivering groceries. These juxtapositions stirred something within him, questions about how technology could unite rather than divide. For days, Musk had been exploring small businesses in the city, trying to understand the challenges faced by local entrepreneurs navigating an increasingly digital world. Shedding his usual high-profile appearance, he'd chosen a plain outfit and left his Tesla parked blocks away. Moving unnoticed through the streets, he observed the interplay of old-world traditions and cutting-edge innovation that made San Francisco so unique. One establishment caught his eye: the Progressive Bean. Known for its forward-thinking sustainability initiatives, the cafe embodied the spirit of Silicon Valley's ingenuity combined with a dedication to community values. Its AI-driven coffee machines minimized waste, solar panels powered the building, and its composting system was hailed as revolutionary by local environmentalists. Even its blockchain-based supply chain ensured that every coffee bean met ethical and environmental standards, a true model for the future of business. For Musk, whose passion for sustainable technology was no secret, this cafe seemed worth exploring. He wanted to see firsthand how such innovations functioned in a real-world setting. But what began as a quiet visit to learn more quickly turned into an unexpected lesson about bias. The irony wasn't lost on him. A cafe that prided itself on inclusivity and progressiveness had judged him, not for his ideas or his actions, but for what they assumed his hat represented. The red MAGA cap had drawn assumptions, not questions, and Musk was struck by the parallels to moments in his own career. How many times had people dismissed electric cars or reusable rockets as fantasies without even trying to understand their potential? Even more ironically, no one in the cafe had recognized him. The tech-savvy crowd, many of whom likely had Tesla apps on their phones or marked SpaceX launch dates on their calendars, passed by one of the industry's most recognizable figures without a second glance. Tara, the barista, had failed to notice that the man she'd refused service to was the subject of her favorite podcast and the inspiration for the Anton Starman poster in the break room. In a twist of fate, the hat and casual clothing had given Musk what years of privacy measures couldn't: a rare moment of complete anonymity. Yet that moment was shattered, not by his fame, but by a snap judgment. The weight of the day lingered with him as he reflected on how easily assumptions could obscure the truth. Elon Musk couldn't shake the events of the previous day. During a meeting with his executive team at Tesla's headquarters, while discussions about quarterly projections filled the room, his pen moved almost unconsciously across his notepad. His chief of staff noticed the faraway look in his eyes, a look she'd seen before, one that often preceded Musk unveiling yet another audacious idea. By evening, the idea had crystallized. It wasn't about revenge or calling out the cafe publicly. That wasn't Musk's style. Instead, he envisioned turning a moment of prejudice into an opportunity for innovation. The next morning, the staff at the Progressive Bean prepared for their usual rush, completely unaware of what was coming. Their routine was interrupted by the quiet hum of electric motors as a fleet of Tesla vehicles rolled up. 5 Model S sedans and 3 Cybertrucks parked in a precise formation along the street, immediately drawing a crowd of curious onlookers. From the lead car stepped Elon Musk, still wearing the same red MAGA hat, but this time accompanied by Tesla's chief sustainability officer and a team of engineers. The group carried tablets and high-tech instruments, scanning the cafe building with quiet precision. Inside the cafe, the staff froze. Tara, the barista from the previous day, nearly dropped a latte as she realized who had stood before her just 24 hours earlier. Lisa, the manager, rushed to the front, already fumbling with apologies. "Mr. Musk, I had no idea it was you. If I'd known..." Musk raised a hand, his expression calm but firm. "I'm not here for what you think," he said, his voice carrying through the hushed room. Customers paused mid-sip, phones in hand, recording the scene. "I'm here to make you an offer, one that could teach us all something about progress." Outside, the crowd had swelled, including Lisa's teenage daughter, Jamie, who had sprinted over from her robotics club after receiving a frantic text from her mother. Clutching a backpack containing her prototype solar panel project for the upcoming science fair, Jamie stood in awe, watching Tesla engineers methodically scan the building. For a budding inventor, the scene was as surreal as it was inspiring. Over the next hour, Musk laid out his proposal. He commended the cafe's sustainability initiatives, recognizing their genuine commitment despite the events of the previous day. Rather than criticize or seek vindication, Musk wanted to collaborate. His vision? To make the Progressive Bean the pilot location for a groundbreaking Tesla sustainable energy system. The system, he explained, would merge cutting-edge solar technology with advanced battery storage and AI-driven energy management. The goal? To eliminate the cafe's carbon footprint entirely. "You've already done incredible work," Musk said, his tone encouraging. "But I think together, we can take this to the next level. Yesterday, you refused to serve me because of assumptions about what my hat represented," Elon Musk began, addressing the cafe staff and the crowd that had gathered outside. His voice carried the same calm curiosity as the day before. "This hat says, 'Make America Great Again.' But before we can truly achieve that, we need to focus on making Earth great again." He paused, glancing at the cafe's sustainability accolades displayed on the wall. "Your commitment to sustainability is impressive. Let's turn this misunderstanding into an opportunity for progress." Lisa, overwhelmed with emotion, accepted his offer. But Musk wasn't finished. In front of the growing audience, he announced a partnership between SpaceX and local educational institutions to create internship opportunities for students interested in sustainable technology. The Progressive Bean would serve as a living laboratory, a place where young innovators could witness firsthand how technology could reshape businesses and communities. "The best response to prejudice isn't more prejudice," Musk said as news cameras arrived, capturing the moment. "It's education and innovation. Let's show the world how technology and understanding can bridge our differences. Sometimes the greatest opportunities come disguised as challenges." The story quickly went viral, not as a tale of conflict, but as an inspiring example of turning misconceptions into moments of growth. Social media buzzed with conversations about how technology could intersect with social progress. Almost overnight, the progressive bean transformed from a neighborhood cafe into a symbol of innovation and open-mindedness. In the months that followed, Tesla's new sustainable energy system helped the cafe reduce operating costs by 70% while eliminating its carbon footprint. The cafe became a hub for students, entrepreneurs, and researchers curious about sustainable business practices. A small plaque near the entrance commemorated the incident, reading, "Where assumptions ended, progress began." Field trips from local schools brought students to see the energy systems in action, while college researchers used the cafe's data to study real-world sustainability. The once generic social justice posters were replaced with a mix of space exploration imagery and infographics on environmental innovation. Baristas, including Tara, received training not only in coffee preparation, but also in explaining the cafe's technology to curious patrons. Lisa reflected in a local newspaper interview. "We learned that being progressive isn't about judging someone for what they wear or what we think they represent. It's about being open to new ideas and admitting when we're wrong. Sometimes our greatest lessons come from our biggest mistakes." Now, when I look around this cafe, I see a place where humanity comes together to create something better than before. The cafe's transformation wasn't just technological, it became a cultural beacon. The staff underwent training in both technical systems and cultural sensitivity, while new hiring policies emphasized diversity of thought as much as other forms of inclusion. Monthly community forums encouraged open, respectful discussions on challenging topics, turning the cafe into a space for connection and understanding. The progressive bean became a meeting ground for people from all walks of life, those seeking coffee, conversation, and perhaps a glimpse of the future. As for Musk, whether or not he's returned to the cafe remains a mystery. But if he does, it's safe to say he might just sneak in, as quietly and curiously as before. One of these days, perhaps, Elon Musk might walk back into the progressive bean, dressed in his usual black shirt and pants, blending in with the crowd. Maybe he'll quietly order a coffee and take a seat by the window, observing how far the cafe has come. He might reflect on whether the word progressive is no longer just an adjective on the sign, but a living description of the cafe's true spirit, an ethos of growth, inclusion, and innovation. Moments like this make us wonder, have you ever experienced or witnessed a situation where misunderstanding or prejudice was turned into something positive? Perhaps you've seen someone rise above embarrassment or conflict to seize an opportunity for change, transforming a mistake into a teachable moment. Imagine being in Lisa's position when Musk walked back in, knowing what had happened, facing not just him, but the weight of her earlier decisions. Would you have been able to set aside embarrassment and embrace the chance to grow, or would fear of judgment have held you back? It's a question that challenges all of us to think about our capacity for self-reflection and resilience. This story isn't just about a cafe or a hat. It's a reminder that every choice we make contributes to a larger narrative. Lisa and her team took an uncomfortable situation and turned it into a platform for education, innovation, and connection. The cafe became a space where ideas could flourish and assumptions could be challenged, a true testament to what progress means. What would you have done in Lisa's shoes? Would you have had the courage to turn a misstep into an opportunity to learn, grow, and inspire others? Or would the weight of regret have kept you from moving forward? We'd love to hear your thoughts and reflections. Share your experiences in the comments below. Your insights might just inspire someone else to embrace their own opportunities for change. Thank you for listening to this remarkable story of humility, innovation, and redemption. It's a reminder that even the most unexpected encounters can lead to something extraordinary.